All right, we're going to get to some of your text messages in a bit here. There's some really good ones coming in. I'll apologize. I'm not going to read them right now. I'm all crooked up here too, ain't I, Colson? There we go. It's been so long. I haven't been around. Mr. Eric Francis, how you look angry. Are you mad at me?
No, I'm excited for you to remind me how much I won in our little bet. But anyway, that's not what this is about. I'm not angry.
Colson, do you remember what the bet was? I think it was a night. It was one of the nights in Vegas. It's buy a few cocktails. Yeah. And then that's where I said we would go down to Slots of Fun because they still have $1.50 beer and like $1 hot dogs. So we'll explore with the locals.
Memory is a funny thing, isn't it? Because I seem to recall it involving a meal at Hell's Kitchen in Vegas, and then drinks all night long. Anyway, we have the tape. We can pull it.
Okay.
And we should remind everyone. Like, the bet was, and I'll preface it again, and I'm not gloating. The bet was that the U.S. would win the Olympics. I think we made it even before the tournament started. I know we did, and I've been scared of that moment for 30 years, my friends. I've said this many times on the day that they would win the biggest moment in hockey, and they did it, and they did it on the women's side. They did it at the World Championships. They're 3 for 3 right now. It's a scary point in time. We were the better team. I get it, and I like our chances still moving forward, but damn it, they got us, and the only silver lining I've got is a wicked night out in Vegas, courtesy of Barney.
We got to pull the tape because now as we talk, it's like, or was it double or nothing? Because I won the Four Nations bet for the whatever. We're gonna have to pull the tape for sure. But you bring up a good point in how the last 3 they've won. But Eric, when you sit back and think about it, it was unbelievable. We could say how the ice was tilted and we got out goalied in 3-on-3. Maybe that shouldn't have been the way to go down, but you know the rules going in. This was bound to happen, wasn't it?
That's my point. Like they played great. I'm actually buoyed by the fact that Canada was the better team. They just weren't opportunistic. And my theory is, obviously it's well documented. Their goalie stood on their head, and Canada missed a million grade A opportunities. Like, if I were to give you a list of, okay, you get 3 chances in this game, I'm going to give you a break, 2 breakaways, and an empty net at the side of the net. Who would you want to take them all? It would be Celebrini, it would be McDavid, it would be McKinnon, and yet none of them, went in. But the other thing that I think is part of it too is, and then there's the Taves play. Oh God! But the other thing is, Canada was getting a lot of bounces, some good calls. They were just having some good fortune in the previous 2 games that got them there. There were some pretty big scares that we went through in those 2, play down games. And I just think I don't want to say luck, but for lack of a better term, our luck ran out. The fortuitous bounces, the call that, the offside or the too many men call that should have probably been called in the game. None of those things kind of went Canada's way at the end, and that was also part of the difference as well.
Our good fortune.
Yeah.
We'll call it good fortune.
Like our good fortune. Yeah, our good fortune. That's it. Like, I'm not going to say luck had anything to do with it because it didn't. They won fair and square, and but it still sucks. It's a crappy moment in Canadian hockey history right now.
I was really impressed with Jordan Binnington.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And again, just like Four Nations, we're like, really? Who saw that coming? And even in that game, when it got into overtime, I remember thinking, even then, again, it's all based on fear. He's going to let in the goal, and everyone's going to go, at the end of the day, it really was. Goaltending was the difference. But you can't, I guess you could still say goaltending was the difference because Hellebuck was by far the best player in the game. But that's through no fault of Binnington's. He deserves a ton of credit. We can already start the debate on who the goalie candidates are going to be in 4 years from now, can't we?
Oh my, Harry, that is one thing that I texted Harry this morning, and it's all over social media where people have the rosters for 2030, and I don't know if you are probably with your Sportsnet and the Calgary Sun and everything you do. Can you legally slap people? Because you're going to be hit with this. You're going to be hit with this question like all the time now. Well, what do you think? Is Landon Dupont going to be there? Is Maddox Schultz, who's playing AAA midget for the Pat Canadians? Like, really, it's like, can we stop? Can we stop? I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. I'm boycotting that.
No, I get it. I've seen the list, and I find it interesting, but I'm not going to sit here and debate anybody on it. That's ridiculous. Like, you kidding me? Gavin McKenna's already penciled in and on the second line. Kid hasn't even been drafted. I did get Landon Dupont. Don't get me wrong. I think he will go first overall or something like that. But I'm not ready to start saying in 4 years from now he's going to be that good that he's patrolling the blue line with Matthew Schaefer. So, I will go down the path of, is there any chance Sid will still be on the team in 4 years?
Oof.
And my quick answer is no. At age 42, he just demonstrated to us that even if he could have gone in that game, he knew better than to take up a spot that could otherwise be occupied by someone who's just healthier, faster, in better position to help the team. In 4 years from now, he's still going to, if he's still playing, I don't know. Can you guys... can we weigh in on that? I say no. I say no, he can't be there.
Yeah, 42? Like 42 in 2020, 42 in 2030 is, and we've talked about this before, how 42 right now isn't our dads and moms 42s. Like, you look back at your pictures of your mom and dad when they were 42, they looked 75, right? And it's just different. Sydney Crosby would play in the next Olympics if he wasn't Canadian or American, right? Because you know how there's always that Slovakian team or Denmark or some weird country, and it's like, yeah, this guy, he plays like pickup men's, and he plays in the third division, and he's 45, and he's out there dangling. For Canada, that's probably a stretch. Harry?
I mean,
So
Bellemare was playing for France, and he's 41, and his NHL career is long behind him. And it can be done. It's just a matter of whose spot is he taking. I guess as we were talking, I thought, okay, just playing devil's advocate of what a 40, 41-year-old can bring to the table. Do you think that there's any way in hell that right now, who's 40 years old in the NHL? Brent Burns is the first guy that I think of. Could Brent Burns have been a sixth or seventh defenseman? And take into consideration that Brent Burns is no Sidney Crosby. So now you think of Sydney Crosby at 40, if he's still operating on a high enough level that he could be a third line guy, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. I definitely don't. Just if it was anybody else, if it was Braden Point who was 40, or if it was, I don't know, somebody else who's older, maybe not. But Crosby, I would not write him off quite yet.
Yeah, and Drew Doughty was on the team, and they wanted to bring him back because of the experience. That was part of why they brought him back. They know they could count on him. He's still out playing at a relatively high level, but he wasn't going to be counted on like in a top pairing like he was in 2014. So, look, a guy that great, we at least owe him the possibility that he could be doing it, not as a first line guy, but even this tournament he was a second or third line guy. So yeah, I could see the discussion, but I just don't know if Sid's going to want to play that long.
Beaster on the text line, I will throw this one out, and this was a debate going in, and it will be, and who knows where we are in 4 years from now. But he says, I'm curious if the gold medal game would have been the same two teams if Russia was there. Hard to say. I don't know. You look at what their roster could have been. For sure, on paper, great roster. The worst thing you can do, and we've seen it, you don't even have to be an NHL insider, is to say this team can't be beat because look at them on paper. It's not how the sport works, Eric.
No, I mean, no. And like I haven't spent much time thinking about Russia because I 100% agree with them not being included in the tournament and at the Olympics. But politics aside, I'm more interested in having a debate as to how good Canada Team 2 would be in a tournament like that. You know, like if Canada were allowed to put in two teams and they weren't split evenly, they were tiered. Like there's the A team that we saw and the B team. I think the B team would have just as good a chance as any team in the tournament to get into the medal round, into the medals.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, I don't know. You got to come up with 17 guys. I don't know. I know Canada's deep as a country, but 17 that can compete with Finland, Canada, the U.S., Sweden. The
problem would probably be goaltending, right? I mean, it was already thin enough at the top level, so I get that. But and you wouldn't have that juggernaut power play like Canada relied on to get to the final. So, no, look, it's another exercise for someone to do after this. They could just Google what would Team 2 have looked like for Team Canada, and you'd be pretty wide-eyed going, man, I forget just how damn deep we are. And yeah, up against Finland or Russia or the U.S., maybe not, but I think that they, when it comes down to a one game in the playdowns, I think they could do some damage.
I was actually, and just as for the game goes, I talked about this when we started the show. Like, if you don't know anything about hockey, which a lot of people that watched it didn't, and that's fine. That's okay. If you haven't been in the country very long, or you're an American and you don't watch hockey, that's cool. But if you watch that game, Eric, and you really sit there and think about it, it's like a movie. It's like, hold on. The guy, he did lose his teeth. Like, that's what I hear about all the time. Like, hockey players, they lose their teeth. He lost his teeth. He keeps playing, and then he scores the goal. For the sport and the entertainment value, it's like, I don't know. That's tough to beat.
Oh, and then add to that the fact that, even if you are a casual fan, Jack Hughes loses his teeth and then takes a 4-minute minor in the final 5 minutes of the game. And it's pretty clear that he's about to become the biggest GOAT in America. And 20 minutes later, he's a national hero and he's the face of the Olympics. If they found the tooth or fragments of the tooth, they should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Like, it's ridiculous, but and then the whole Gaudreau thing, that added a layer that made even soften the Americans. No matter how much you hate America, or the politics, or just Team America at the Olympics and what a threat they pose, or you hate the Kachucks. When you saw that moment with Gaudreau, you even had to go, well, okay, that's pretty beautiful. And so it did have all the elements, like you said. The only thing that they could have maybe added were a few more goals, because people like goals. But for the diehards, we understand that was just a brilliantly played hockey game.
Have you guys ever dug into the story on the Hughes family? I didn't know this until Sunday night when I was searching how the mother played for the United States international team. It was like 92, so it was before the Olympics in 98. Hockey, lacrosse, and soccer at the University of New Hampshire. Then she coached and then meets the dad, and he's a minor pro hockey player, and then he's coaching and doing all that. So they were born in, I think, Florida. Then they grow up in Mississauga. Then they go to this. I had no idea. I don't know how much, Eric, do you know about that story?
No, to be honest, I haven't delved into it too much. I should know more about them. I know more about the Stalls than I do about the Hugheses.
And the
pretty
Kachucks,
incredible
well.
too. You talk about storylines. Like, you had two pairs of brothers on the gold medal winning team. Like, that in itself is an incredible story. And you just couldn't have, well, you could have written a better script because it could have ended a little better, in our opinion. But in terms of where the movies are made in the States, you could not have written a better script. Like, if they have a movie for The Miracle on Ice, you can bet yourself that I don't know how many years it's going to have to be from now. We'll probably all be dead. But when they finally make the movie on what just happened, it'll be pretty incredible too.
Can we go back to Binnington for a second?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking here is Jordan Binnington has been blessed with the fact that he won a Stanley Cup very early. And then it's well documented his struggles since then. Now, what makes me think of it is that goaltending, a hockey goalie, a professional hockey goalie, it's for the argument of what is the toughest position sport to play, goalie has to be right up there because it is so unforgiving in nature. Now, if Jordan Binnington had not won a Stanley Cup, he would have been written off by St. Louis years ago. Now, how many other goalies have been not made it, been given up on by their teams because of inconsistent play? What it does is shows that how bad a goalie can play if he does not have a team in front of him. Jordan Binnington is last in a lot of statistical categories in the NHL. He goes to the Olympics and plays unbelievable. He goes to the Four Nations and plays unbelievable. So I feel like two things. One, it definitely brings goaltender into the conversation of what's the toughest position sport to play, and it's unforgiving. And two, it really emphasizes how important it is to play on a good team in front of you as a goaltender to be able to have a long career.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's always been the case. You juggle. There are advanced stats now that, can dig a little deeper into just how bad the team is and how much workload that, I can't stand saves above expected and all this garbage like this. There's so many of them. But I do see how a lot of them just kind of illustrate your point that if he was on a better team, he'd have a better chance because he wouldn't be facing as many of these grade A chances that they document and all that. Before that stats, you just look and just go, well, yeah, he'd probably be better on a better team, but we have no stats to back it up. Well, now you've got advanced stats to kind of prove that point. And there were some advanced stats that showed that Binnington was okay, but most of them showed that he's even worse than he's been this year in the National Hockey League. And really, at the end of the day, especially because there was no clear-cut guy to start, you have to go with your gut. And, Barney, I know you've coached and stuff like that, and you just go with guys that you trust. There's no stronger bond between a player and a coach than the ability to trust them. And they trusted Binnington. I don't know if they did going into Four Nations, but they sure had to trust him going into the Olympics because of what he did at Four Nations.
Okay, on Friday, we'll talk more NHL because I can't believe it fires up again tomorrow night. It's crazy. But before I let you go, I said I was going to ask you both a question. Start with you, Eric. I don't remember in my lifetime ever seeing anyone bite a medal before Elizabeth Manley. And now we see it all the time. Summer, Winter Olympics. Am I crazy to say, did Elizabeth Manley start that?
That's a great Google search. I never thought of it. Like, she is a famous one for sure. For the older people like you and I, we remember that one in Calgary in the '88 games. But it's it's not. It's a great question. It's a great Google search that I'm going to throw together as soon as this is over. But I also, you guys were talking earlier about putting 4 years of your life or 8 years or your whole life on the line for an Olympic event, which is insane to me. I was there when Jeremy Witherspoon, who is still considered one of the greatest speed skaters of all time, and I was at Salt Lake City on the starting line. I'd written 1 million articles leading up to the games. He was the favorite in the World Cup leader, and he fell out of the starting blocks. And then Perdita Felicien, a couple years later, I'm in Athens. Same thing. I watch her face plant into a hurdle. Like, you can't imagine how these people, A, could do that, but B, how do you recover from that? Like, Jeremy went on to win 100 more World Cup races and millions more dollars. Perdita is now a broadcaster based a little bit on the infamy that she gained from that race. Anyway, I want to hear your answer. Do you think Elizabeth Manley was the first to bite into the medal?
That's a rabbit hole you could go down. I have no idea.
I told you it was a dumb question, but I'm sitting there because now when they take the pictures, the camera guy, the one I was watching, they said bite it. So then they want them to bite it, and I'm like, that's Elizabeth's move. Leave that for 88. Yeah, she had good salad. She had a good run.
Great teeth too, and you wonder if that whole idea, whether it was Elizabeth or someone else, whether it all started and goes back to when we were children and you'd have those chocolate covered coins. Is that why she bit into it? She was thinking about that. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And those are the days that we had the original blue whales. Then they had to go and change them. Why did someone have to change? Hey, you know what we do? You know what we were going to talk about today? Now we're out of time. The bring your own cereal. We're going to have the cereal thing at some point. Best cereal of all time. We'll have to do it when Harry's here because he likes his cereal, or he used to. Yeah,
he does.
Okay,
he still does.
We'll do it because my BYOC party for the gold medal game, bring your own cereal.
Yeah.
We had eight couples, and they all brought. I was kind of joking about it, because my wife was making food anyway, but they brought eight different boxes. Like, I would have thought there would have been some repeats.
Let's go.
But
We're going to go down a rabbit hole, and we're up against the clock. We can't do it. Talk to you Friday, buddy. Travel safe.
See you, boys. Cheers.
Bye.